2022 season. So much to discuss here on Pro Saints Talk. Role reversal. We got George in the host seat today. Ron gets that a little bit more color, context than ever before. You'll want to listen to this, all that and more, next on Pro Saints Talk.
Look at uptown people like, yeah, yeah, yeah. People up and gritting like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mid-city folks like, yeah, yeah, yeah. People downtown, man, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where you at, who dat? Ron, I was going to surprise you because I thought you were going to jump in right when I hit the record button and say your tagline. And I was going to jump in like Tracy Porter in the fourth quarter on Brett Favre in the NFC Championship and say, no, you don't. And say, today, guess what, Ron? New season, one episode, we're having a little fun here. I'm hosting, and you get to step in the Charles Barkley seat, and we get to hear your expertise instead of you just playing Chris Paul asking the questions. Jay, how you doing, buddy, man?
Oh, living good, George.
Ron, how we live?
Excited to be back with you fellas. Interested to see how it goes with you in the host seat.
I ain't gonna let you down, Coach. Ron, how we doing? We living lavish?
Wow. Yeah, living lavish. Wow. So you said we're having fun on this episode. I'm not having fun right out of the gates, but I guess I'll have to adapt because, I'm a flexible guy. I can still touch my toes at this point in my life, which is more than what my man George can say. So,
I will touch my toes right now on camera. What made you that I can't touch my toes? Ron, if you want to talk about
George, notoriously inflexible, we're getting it right here, right now.
Fake news. This is going to the World Wide Web. Rob, my ancestors for generations are going to hear this, and they might actually believe you when you spew this nonsense. And if anybody should be body shamed, it should be you, because no one has ever wasted a more pristine football body and not taken it at least to the college level. So if anyone was to be body shamed, it should be you. Because 5'8", 178 pounds. I mean, anyone that can, catch a cold ought to be.
Are we counting Walter Thomas in this conversation?
Ought to be in the NFL, Ron. So for you to waste that 5'8" frame, to me, is the biggest physical folly out here.
All right, Boogie would like to mention Walter Thomas as honorable mention, but okay, hey, I appreciate it. Look, I let Coach Black down. All right, I could have gone to Swanee, could have been, who knows what I could have been. But I walked away. I said, look, I want to retire on my terms. All right.
Jay, who was that? Egan. What was his name? Was it Giant for a day? Yeah, that could have been you, Ron. 5'3", Okay, Ron. How did we start?
I'd rather just be like the Kenny Chesney and just kind of make a cameo appearance, catch a couple passes at camp one year, and go about my merry way.
Better yet, Ron, how about you just be Ron? That's the Ron we want to see, is Ron being Ron Hilarious, the dude everyone loves. Okay, Ron, we started this podcast 3, 4, 5 years ago, however long it was, and we started it by just breaking down the roster. What do we have right now? We have our unofficial depth chart. At quarterback, Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Ian Book, and then in parentheses, we have our boy Clickbait. Okay, we'll get the tight end. We'll get the tight end. Nowadays, much more popular to keep 2. But sometimes if you have a guy you want to stash or preserve, you keep 3, or you do the game where you keep him on the initial roster and then move him to the practice squad midweek in order to try to stash him. Where do you see us keeping? Who do you see us keeping come week 1?
Well, I mean, I think it's been well documented that Taysom is not Dennis Allen's guy. I mean, we said that in the last offseason episode where, we was well established. Taysom's going to go play tight end. Who knows if he's going to play this real joker role so much anymore. And, we'll, like you said, we'll get there. But yeah, so I think we're going to want to keep 3 quarterbacks here. The question is Ian Book Dennis Allen's guy? I know he's Jay's guy, but I could see Ian Book on the chopping block here. So who knows? So, when it comes down to roster spots, maybe it's just 2, because it's a damn solid 2, man. I mean, Andy Dalton is impressing in camp early. Talks of his chemistry that he's building up with Mike Thomas. Look, we're going to be mentioning it early and often in this episode. So, yeah, I mean, I think you got to feel really good about the backup quarterback situation. Really strong quarterback room this year, and just kind of gives you that same sense of security that we've had the last couple of years where something happens to Jameis, God forbid, we're not out of this thing. I mean, I think this is still a playoff team with Andy Dalton.
Jay, do you feel that sense of security that Rob is alluding to?
Yeah, I think it was really smart to bring the Red Rifle in. I went by airline drive today for about 20 minutes. And I mean, how much time last year did we talk about Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill? To have a guy that's started as many games as Andy Dalton back there does give you a lot of security. It looks like he's played well, and he is what he is. I don't think he's got a great ceiling. I like what Jameis, obviously his max potential, what he can bring. I like what he can bring from an intangible standpoint that I don't think Andy Dalton has. But as far as quarterback too, we're in a lot better position than we were last year.
Jay, going fast on you. Get ready, on your toes.
Let's go,
Alvin
Coach.
Kamara, Mark Ingram, Tony Jones Jr., Dwayne Washington, the special teams ace, Devine Azigbo, Abram Smith, a guy not on the roster yet. Keep that in parentheses. Who are your 4?
I'm not going to pretend that I know much about Abram Smith. We saw Zigbo a little bit, but to me, George, that the running back position, aside from offensive line, is the biggest question mark on the team. Ron, I don't know if you have an update with Alvin Kamara's suspension status, if that's going to be this year, next year. Sure would be nice if it's next year. But that's a glaring need. As deep as the Saints are at skill positions like receiver, if number 41's gone, the Saints are in a lot of trouble. They need somebody to step up. That guy that we saw last year, Tony Jones, in the preseason, we need to see not flashes, but him do the same thing in the regular season. And not only for when Kamara goes out, but to be able to spell Kamara, because we all saw last year him get a heavy workload in the beginning of the year, got injured. And unfortunately, as much as we love Mark Ingram, the person, the running back that he once was, I think there's little to no tread left on those tires.
Out of gas. Jay, I agree. Let me just hop in there. Okay.
One more thing, George. You're deep at some positions, like defensive back, as the old cliche goes. You can't be too deep at that position, but maybe it's something that those pro scouts are monitoring across the league. Who are those teams that are deep at running back, and can you
49ers?
Trade a guy like Roby for somebody that has younger, fresh legs.
Okay, so going back to quarterback real quick, Ian Book needs to have a pretty stellar offseason to make this team in my book. Tony Jones Jr. needs to be A++ because he had that opportunity last year and flopped. Mark Ingram, like you said, out of gas. Like you said, Jay, got the pro scouts. We're going to be on NFL Network. We're going to be watching these preseason games. And that is where we're going to find our number 2 running back, because this whole roster behind Kamara, no thank you. We're deep in some positions, thin at others. Could we even expect to see a little clickbait, taking some handoffs? Of course, they'll have some rushing yards in some fashion or another. But to me, behind Kamara, yuck. Ron, do you see it any differently?
No, this is a position group that might look, I mean, aside from Alvin Kamara, completely different come week 6 of this season. I mean, I could just see this thing getting completely scrapped and revamped. there's just nothing here. So, I mean, unless somebody's going to emerge in preseason, like Jay was talking about, big leap year for Tony Jones Jr. I don't know, man. It's bleak. The only positive here is, Jay mentioned, any update on the suspension. I mean, there has been no update, and no news is good news in this situation. And maybe Deshaun Watson is the distraction we need. And as the league just, begrudges that one, then we can fly under the radar for a year here with Kamara. I mean, when we all saw the first, 6-game suspension, we all joked Kamara should get no more than 6 minutes. He should just get like the high school suspension of, oh yeah, we'll suspend you for the first half of this game, and then we'll bring you in at halftime. I mean, it's a joke. So that's the only positive you can really say right now is at least Kamara hasn't gotten suspended.
But Ron, even if he does avoid suspension, or they keep appealing it to avoid a lengthy suspension, we've seen it many years in a row when we just go binge mode on Kamara. He gets banged up, and we just have to have someone else that can handle between the tackles. And look at all the great Saints teams of our lifetime. What did they all have? They had a great running back by committee. They had a lot of different ways they could beat you. This team does not have that. And we have a very good offensive line, and the one thing Jameis could really love to rely on to help his passing game is the obvious answer of a running game. And you would love to see another fresh face come in there. I know during the draft we were looking at all these second, third round running backs that were on the table. And look, okay, we got Alontae Taylor. He looks great in training camp per all the beats. But now we're stacked at cornerback and we're very thin at running back. But Jay already said one thing. Maybe you trade a guy like Roby for an established running back vet that could provide some pop to that offense. Okay, Jay, a wide receiver guru nowadays. You're so focused on these wide receivers. You love the wide receivers. You got a good eye on them. You got Mike Thomas. You got Chris Olave. You got Jarvis Landry, Callaway coming back, Deontay Hardy, Traquan Smith, and I'm not even going to name the rest of them. Kevin White, yada yada. Okay, that's a fantastic receiving room. Give us a little breakdown on it.
And did George, Stu, Bird Stu have a question on the receivers?
Well, look at you reading the messages midday. Bird flu. Where you at? Is this the best receiving core we've ever had?
Yeah, I thought it'd be good to
look at you.
Inject that in there.
Keeping me on my toes. There you go.
Yeah. I would answer that Bird as a core. The number one receiving core is still Colston, Lance Moore, Henderson, Meacham. Potentially on paper, this unit could very well surpass that unit. On paper, you would take this core. But you got 3 guys, your top 3 receivers that have never played together. You got Michael Thomas coming back, well documented, missed pretty much 2 seasons. Jarvis Landry, he's a guy that wanted big money in free agency, settled for $2 million, basically an approve-it contract. And then you have Chris Olave, who's obviously number 12 pick in the draft, and he looks as advertised. So all of the signs point towards this receiving core being really good. Olave is silky smooth. Everything you see from the beats, everything you see on Twitter, I saw it today. Just his route running ability, being able to stretch the field. Thomas, interesting. Just going to be interesting to see what he does with Jameis. Jameis succeeds more at the deep routes than he does intermediate and short. We all know that Thomas has made his money on the intermediate routes. Jarvis, I think he still has some gas left in the tank. And then those 3 guys that we talked about and how good they are, think about the opportunities that's going to create for all of a sudden, you're focusing on those 3 guys. And then Deontay Harris is 50 yards down the field in a blink. Marquez Callaway, who's the number 1 guy last year, he's your number 5 guy who can create separation and mismatches as your number 5 guy. And then we talked about tight end to start the show, but what's that going to do to guys like Taysom, Adam Troutman? Supposedly Troutman's having a really good camp, which is positive. I mean, he's got to have all the motivation in the world coming into this year and being as disappointing as he's been through 2 years. And, he's heard the noise. And coming out of Dayton, I know you didn't ask about tight ends, George, but Troutman looked like, he had pretty good film, converted to tight end, really good hands. It just seemed like in past year, the lights were a little bit too bright for him. So hopefully he settles in this year, because that could be a position that gets a lot of opportunities, that really benefits from such a skilled wide receiver room.
Ron, I'm shocked that you didn't chime in to interrupt Jay to say about best wide receiver core. What about Eddie Kennison, Andre Hastings, and Keith Poole? Where you at, Jay? But Ron, I appreciate the patience, because I know you're patient.
Well, because I would have jumped in and said, come on,
Brett
dude,
Best.
Jake Reed, Robert Wilson, Willie Jackson, Joe
dog.
Hollywood Horn. Come on, dude. You know the real core. The playoff winning core.
Jake Reed from?
Wait, there was a wide receiver from the Colts.
Mississippi State, Jay. I don't know.
Cedric
All right.
Wilson
I was in the neighborhood.
Cedric Wilson from? Tennessee?
No, Robert Wilson, bro.
All right,
So,
Ron,
all right,
tight
so
end,
wait.
because
No,
Jake.
wait, no. We don't. No, I need a shot at wide receiver here, because I think every position group on offense that we're talking about here, every position group has a little added element of intrigue, just because we don't know exactly what it's going to look like this year, right? I mean, we don't know how similar or different the offense is going to look with just Carmichael and without Peyton. So, like, we just got done talking about, oh man, we're not going to have this running game to lean on. Do we know how much we're going to be running the ball versus throwing it? Dude, what if Carmichael's like, hey, let's see 5K Jameis. Let's get those, 4 or 5 yard hitch routes for our first down run game. I know that's not sustainable, Jay. I know that's not sustainable, but I'm just adding to the intrigue of, we don't really know exactly what this offense is going to look like, and we can't just go in with the assumption that it's going to be just like the past 15 years, because it won't be. So,
Well, Ron, I think what you're saying, maybe the quick passes to Jarvis would act as a running game.
Anything. I'm just saying anything's possible.
Or Deontay on the wide receiver in the rounds.
I feel like we cannot gloss over wide receiver that quickly. We have done enough talking about Mike Thomas over the last 2 years on this podcast. I think we deserve to talk about this a little bit more, because, it's like it's only
We've done a lot of talking.
Couple weeks into training camp here, and it seems like he's totally redeemed himself. I can't help but buy in to the grassroots airline highway hype coming from the Ron Nation that he's back. He's back with a chip on his shoulder. He's looking like his old self. He's got that something to prove. Oh, first round rookie breathing down my back. I'm still the man. I'm still Madden 99. Here we go. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think it's a good point by Jay about, is he going to have that same kind of success and chemistry in his kind of route tree with Jameis, or maybe that's why in the last couple of days he's really shining with the red rifle. It's something to watch out for, but dude, Mike Thomas when healthy, has proven he can do it all. So I'm really excited. I'm excited that MT13 can't guard Mike is back. Can't get hurt, Mike. All right. I said it. All right. Tight end.
Wait, Ron, I got a question for you before we hop into that. Who will lead this team in receiving yards?
Oh, that's going to be Thomas. Mike Thomas. I'll put a burger and a beer on that.
I got one. I'll take that. I like Olave. I think Olave is going to have a phenomenal rookie year. And
George, on that point, 10-1 odds in Vegas for Olave rookie of the year.
I don't think he's a touchdown guy. I think he's just going to have a lot of between the 20s receiving yards. A lot. So much focus is going to be on Kamara. So much focus is going to be on Mike Thomas. So then the clickbaits and the Harris and the Olaves of the world are going to have some open spaces on one-on-ones. Ron, the world's been wanting to hear it. We're hot on some positions. We're cold on others. Very polarizing team right now. Tight end, Adam Troutman. Jay just gave a great rundown of his college tape. Taysom Hill, newly transitioned. Nick Vanette, what do we have in him? Juwan Johnson, the athlete. Tell us about this tight end group.
George, Troutman's got positive reports so far in camp. Take it for what it's worth at this point. I just don't know how high the ceiling is for him at this point. I don't know that he's really got that same trajectory that that we could give him a couple of years back. So I'm starting to think what you got is kind of what you got there. And so then after that, you got Taysom Hill, who we all have well documented his durability. I mean, dated all the way back through college. For as tough as a son of a gun as he is, he takes a lot of blows and he can't sustain them all. And sure enough, right out of the gates in camp, he's got a rib injury. And you're just thinking, man, why did we think that this was going to work? Why did we think that this was going to be a good idea to give him more contact, give him more opportunities, more shots
what
on
else
goal
you gonna do
to
with
extend
him, Ron?
over the middle?
To be a shield on punt team, and that's it?
God, Ron, what has he done to give you so pessimistic on our boy? Shame
George,
on
I'm trying to do you a favor and say he needs to be back in the quarterback room. I think this is a shame to him to limit him and box him into the tight end role.
I think tight end is just a word. They had to give him position. Like the NFL says, you have to give him position. He's going to be doing the same thing you've always seen him do.
Dude, no, it's not just give him a position. He's not in the quarterback room learning the entire offense like a quarterback would. It's completely different.
We just talked about how great of an acquisition Andy Dalton was. Where does Taysom fit in there?
Third. He fits in third. He's better than Ian Book.
He's too special of an – yeah, but third, what contribution does a third-string quarterback have? Yes, he is injury-prone. That's a wonderful point, but we got to take whatever we can get from him, as athletic as he is.
Jay, I highlighted my flexibility at the start of this podcast, but I'm stubborn AF when it comes to Taysom Hill being a backup quarterback and a joker. He needs to just be that backup quarterback and kind of trickster, jokester role for us.
Dennis Allen doesn't want to mess with that rhythm.
I don't know, man. Where's he had success? Playing all the positions, not just one of them.
He's had success in everything he's done, Ron. Everything he's done. Golden child. All right.
Okay. All right. But wait. All right. But behind him, George, it gets real thin here. I mean, you got social media superstar Juwan Johnson and Ronnie Nick Vanette. I mean, dude,
tight end is not an issue.
Tight end is an issue. 100%.
Tight end's an issue.
I am telling you, tight end is not an issue.
Troutman is who he is. We saw what he was.
What do you mean he is what he is? He's second year. He was coming on, and then he got hurt. Had that great catch against the Eagles, starting to play better, and then he broke his collarbone.
Disappointment. So
he's in his second year coming out of an FCS college.
Like Tony Jones Jr.
You guys are ready to write him off.
I am. I know what he is. He's a
lack of patience. And then Juwan Johnson is a guy that converted to tight end last year, showed great potential. And then y'all's favorite golden child contributing. Yeah, great potential.
He had one touchdown in opening. In Jacksonville. He's a great athlete. He's not a good tight end. This tight end room is not any good. Troutman was a disappointment last year. If he's anything better, I'll take it. But that he was supposed to be going for a shining star. Nick Vanette,
the tight ends are not going to prevent the Saints from reaching or winning a Super Bowl. The offensive line and the running backs are. Period.
Okay, but Jay, on that point, dude, none of these guys. I mean, maybe Vanette, but none of these guys are really a good extension of the offensive line to help you out either.
Isn't that the silver lining in Troutman's play is that he's been graded as a wonderful run blocker?
I don't know about that. All right.
Check PFF. Yeah, PFF.
Oh, dude, I'm done with PFF. I'm done with it. They'll put these rankings at like 3 minutes after the game ends, after you have guys on their back all game on the offensive line. They say, hit a great game. It's like, what did you just see there? They're too quick. Okay.
All right, no more Taysom talk.
Yeah, we got the questions. Okay, Jay, my main man, back and focused. Our offensive line, I like it. Let's go real quick. We got Hurst, Pete, McCoy, Ruiz, Ramrod. On the end, first guy off the bench, if he didn't beat him out, Trevor Penning. First guy off the bench on the inside, Calvin Throckmorton. How we love this offensive line.
I don't love it. I think the jury's still out. You got a guy, James Hurst, that's done serviceable to above average in spot duty, playing arguably one of the top 3 most critical positions on the team. You got a guy, hopefully Penning can emerge and be what they project him to be sooner than later. Next to him, you got Andres Pete. Hopefully he can be the good Andres Pete and stay healthy. Feel really good about McCoy at center. Ruiz, we know the struggles that he's had. Talk about a guy that needs to take a big step. And then at right tackle, obviously we got Ramrod. That's he's a staple, but needs to stay healthy. So I think if this team is a true contender this year, it's because the offensive line is good and not average to below average. I feel good about them having Doug Marrone back there coaching those guys up, and hopefully can get Penning sped up quickly. But I feel a whole lot better of the position group of tight end than I do offensive line. And
wow,
part of that might be because it plays a much more important role as far as the team's ultimate success. You can hide tight end a little bit more, whereas you can't offensive line.
Do you think this offensive line has the potential to be average to below average?
I think it's a fantastic offensive line.
Yes, and I just explained why in detail.
Okay. I don't see how the floor is that low. I look at this team. Okay, let me first just bite it off like one bite at a time here. George, just to flip it back on you. I mean, do you think are you going to be surprised if Trevor Penning's not the starting left tackle week one?
The beauty of Trevor Penning starting at left tackle is that it moves Hurst to replace Ruiz. And that's going to be a big talking point for this podcast over the preseason. Will Ruiz start? Ruiz does not deserve to start. He's only starting because of where he was drafted. He is not playing as a starting NFL guard. Therefore,
I get that.
Wait, give me a second. So if Penning is your left tackle, you can move Hurst inside to guard. And to me, a healthy Pete next to a Penning, a McCoy, Hurst, and Ramrod is a damn good offensive line to protect. Like we said, Jameis is going to be throwing a lot this year. To keep Jameis on his feet, we need a very strong O-line. How many first-rounders are on there? McCoy plays like a first-rounder. I mean, that is a hell of an offensive line. And Jay said Hurst was above average. When Armstead went out last year and Hurst came in, our offense didn't skip a beat. He was fantastic. I have a lot of confidence in this offensive line. And there's even a name we haven't even said yet. Calvin Throckmorton came in for periods last year and played well, a lot of times better than Ruiz. So this is got a lot of depth and a lot of talent, and I'm a huge advocate that this offensive line is going to be the focal point of driving this team deep into the playoffs because there's stability, it's well-rounded, there's depth. I love it.
Yeah, I guess I look at it the way you're looking at it, George, where if you've got guys like Hurst and Throckmorton on, as your 6 and 7 guys, like that's some solid depth right there. And you're going to need it, right? I mean, we're talking about Andrews Pete for crying out loud. So you're going to need that depth. I guess my only concern is, are we wasting our time with this position battle with James Hurst and Trevor Penning instead of, and I don't know, because I'm not down on the grass with the Rons, seeing how many reps Hurst is getting at the other spots. But that's my concern is like, are we wasting our time with this position battle when Hurst could be getting reps, at guard and being our backup inside there, or even backup right tackle? I don't know. It's a little surprising to me that, Trevor Penning, I guess I thought he was a shoe-in starting left tackle, and it seems like it's a position battle.
No, well,
but Ron, that's a position that isn't easy to come in day one if you're playing left tackle at Ohio State and you're projected first round pick. That's a pretty hard position to come in right away, as it goes from position group, and let alone the guys coming from Northern Iowa. I think if you were to ask the front office and the coaches, they certainly have hopes that he's going to start game one, or at some point early in the season. But it's going to take some reps for that guy to be adjusted, because the guys that he's going up against at Northern Iowa look a lot different than the guys that he's going to face every week in the NFL.
Kind of like the guy that Jari Evans faced at Bloomsburg.
Yeah, Jay, I'm like, there have been plenty of examples of guys that have come up in.
I'm not talking
late
about
bloomers.
I'm not talking about guard. I'm talking about left tackle.
Oh, he must be talking about Arkansas Pine Bluff, George. That's what he's talking about. Okay.
Did Armstead start his rookie year?
He probably got in there. We'll check the stats on that one. We'll check the stats.
He did. We gotta get our stat run back. Jay, how big of a deal was it that Trevor Penning got kicked out of practice for fighting 3 practices in a row? I know it's a little clickbait stuff. What do we think?
Yeah, I think it's mostly clickbait. If you see the clips, he's like pushing and shoving with JT Gray, and it's silly stuff. I mean,
I saw a little Peyton Turner in there, I think.
I saw that too, but more just like jersey tugging. I'm great that he has the chip on the shoulder. I hope that that's genuinely who he is. But I want to see clips of him like blocking Marcus Davenport, Peyton Turner, Cam Jordan in a pass set, and just locking him up, holding his ground. And Jameis can take a 5-step drop, can't find his number one target, go to the second, third progression. That's what I want to see, because I think some of my concerns with the offensive line is because it's not Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson back there. It's Jameis. And as we saw last year, like in that Carolina game, yes, that was a depleted offensive line that he's playing behind at Carolina early in the season. But he's a guy that needs time. And I heard today on the radio, they were talking about how with Carmichael that they are implementing more short passes, and hopefully with more familiarity with the offense, he's more comfortable to get the ball out quickly, because I wouldn't necessarily call him elusive in the pocket.
Well, dude, I look at this like, I agree with you, Jay. I want to see some game action on Penning, and we're going to get that this Saturday. I chalk the fights up, George.
Game week.
I chalk the fights up to this guy's just ready to hit somebody else. He's tired of hitting his teammates. Hit him with the preseason cliches, George.
I love Penning, man. I love him. I'm eager to see him. He's probably the number one guy I want to see in the preseason.
Dude, he's going to be Kyle Turley 2.0.
We're going to love him. Dude, the Rons are going to love him. He's got, I'm already going to buy a jersey for my son. All right, Ron, Cameron Jordan, Tano Passingnon, Carl Granderson, Marcus Davenport, Port, Peyton Turner, Taco Charlton. How we like this DN group?
I tell you what, I was liking it a lot more with the early reports that Peyton Turner has gotten his shit together. It sounds like, sounds like he's growing up a little bit. I don't know, that news is kind of faded here in the second week of training camp, but it was at least encouraging to see that he's gotten fully healthy and he's ready to hit the ground running. And so, having him push Davenport, whenever Davenport gets off the freaking PUP list and gets healthy again, just deja vu all over again. I think
he was back at practice yesterday.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, good. I missed that. So, I think it has the potential to have a really nice 3 to 4 man rotation there. And then, after that, you kind of, you're like, I don't know about this depth, but it's got the potential, George, to have a couple really good horses there in your first couple sets. And Davenport flashed last year, like we said. I mean, Bank was flashing, and you just hope that he could sustain a full season here and show us what he's really got. And if Peyton Turner's even got a little glimmer of that as well, we could really have something special, because I still think Cam is still in the tail end of his prime here and can get you some really nice production. I don't have any reason to doubt that.
I think individually it's very hard to predict who will be your sack leader, 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's very easy to predict that collectively they're going to produce a lot of sacks. Don't forget Tano last year, before he got banged up, was having a sack just about every game, and then he got hurt. But I think as a group, you're going to see a lot of productivity. And I love the idea on 3rd and longs. Remember how we did it with the NASCAR package famously for the Super Bowl era? I like the idea of moving Cam Jordan on the inside. So then you have Cam Jordan, Davenport, and Turner all going to the quarterback on those long 3rd downs. That, to me, is how you can maybe get the most out of Cam Jordan in the, like you said, the end of his prime. I think we're out of his prime, but the end of his career, to squeeze the last juice out of him, as he may be losing a step. But Jay, DT.
We thought that last year, and then
I'm not saying. I want it known. I'm not saying that, George. You are.
When's the positive PED test going to come back for our boy? All of a sudden, he found the fountain of the youth.
DT, we're polarizing. We're great in some positions like D end, not so great at DT. Onyemata, great defensive tackle. Beyond him, kind of shy. Tuttle, Contavious Street, Jaleel Johnson, Jordan Jackson, Malcolm Roach. Where are you at, Boogie? Jay, DTs. Is that the group we're going to war with, or are we going to add a couple come game one?
I think Davenport's going to have to rely on the bull rush more than ever, Ron, with 9.5 fingers. Not having the full 10. Don't look for him to add too much to his repertoire.
I mean, dude, JPP's been doing great. So,
and Georgie, I heard your question, but real quick, Cam Jordan, just. No, we're not evaluating personalities, but how great of a person is that guy? He's one of the best, man. I can just see it, 10 years from now, whenever it is, and he's Saints Hall of Fame riding the convertible and just thinking about all the memories and what he's meant to the community. Just one of those guys that is just going to be in our memory forever.
Jay, they haven't done the convertible since like Ricky Jackson, bro. But I wish they did.
I ran
in the stadium. That's what Ron pays attention to. Like in the games, Ron would know. No one's
get out of here,
Ron. You're Sir Junior. It's not a bad thing. It is what it is.
I pay attention to everything in the dome. At least I'm not like Boogie, who like pays attention to like how far up Peyton's zipper is on his windbreaker.
Caroline wasn't looking at us.
I ran into Cam Jordan at Whole Foods parking lot. I said, Cam, it's your former intern. He didn't know who the hell I was. But I had Pete with me, my son, and he was just really engaging. Oh, how old are you, man? Oh, what's your name? Great guy. They're not all made like him. But defensive tackle, George, I think last year, that was a position coming into the season that I was really worried about. Like, how are we going to stop the run with Onyemata being suspended? And somehow it just seemed like Dennis Allen was able to cover it up. I feel really good about Onyemata, Tuttle. Onyemata showed what we thought he could be, what he is. Towards the end of the year, was a little bit slow coming off the suspension. Who's that guy? Street? Is he the guy that was playing really well in the preseason and like tore his labrum? He looks like he could be something. So yeah, it's a position that there needs to be some guys that step up throughout the preseason, but I'm less worried about it than I was last year because of the defense's ability as a whole to perform without necessarily having guys that are household names there.
I mean, I don't have any concerns either. We're talking about one of the best run defenses in the league, and they've pretty much done it with this same cast over the last couple of years. So, while none of these names really jump off the page at you, they're serviceable AF. And our boy Ryan Nielsen's going to make sure that the Hogs are ready to roll, baby. And Jay, going back to the staff, man, like on the other side of the ball, dude, you think offensive line assistant coach Zach Strief is going to let this line be average to below average? Come on, man.
No, I have faith in the coaches.
Thin Fried's going to develop.
Tell him he lets his beer at Port Orleans come out average to below average.
Whoa, bro, dude.
I'm optimistic about the line.
That 3-day weekend hibiscus lime ale, not bad.
No, Dorado's good too. I am playing.
So he is good. All right. And George, Brian, I don't feel very young, pass rush specialist. So don't be surprised if your boy Shy gets back to his glory days this year. Maybe a little INT stiff arm on Marcus Mariota on Thanksgiving. No, just
give it to me. So, Ron, well, Jay made a good point about how they stepped up. These no-name stepped up when Onyemata was suspended, and they could do it again. Malcolm Roach, Shy Tuttle, those are the two names. Contavious Street came from the 49ers. He was not with us last year. One name that we're not saying is going to come, the rookie from Air Force. Maybe he's the guy. I don't know who it's going to be, or maybe one of those ends. Maybe one of those ends comes in to play a little more inside. But most of those guys are pretty undersized. It's unlikely they can Charles Grant their way to doing that. Ron, linebackers. Again, we're polarized.
George, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Before we move on from defensive line. Don't you think Cam Jordan, Davenport, and Peyton Turner, like all three of those guys' personalities kind of remind you of each other? Like they all three kind of have that high voice, like philosophizers, like Pokemon and stuff.
I don't know anything about Peyton Turner, but yes, 100%. Big goofballs. I don't chum with them or play rock, paper, scissors or whatever games they're playing. Dragon Ball Z, but I sound like some old man there. But yeah, it's definitely this new image of what a football player is, and no one exemplifies that more than Cam Jordan. And you can see that with Davenport too. Isn't like that hard ass James Harrison type, sack master, but more does it his own way. And that's just what the NFL is now, for better or for worse. I think you have like the stereotypes when you watch football movies that they're just these huge meatheads. No, they're much more individualized personalities, interesting than how we historically think of them as, which is just how the game is growing and what makes it fascinating. But I mean, I don't like play on guys' Instagrams and that's kind of weird. I just like to watch the game itself and the X's and O's of it, and to watch a guy. What I really like about watching football is like to watch a guy develop. No one more so than Trey Hendrickson. And we just see a guy get drafted and get to play a bit more, and then become really part of the rotation, and then become
Adam Troutman,
damn near elite. But dude, Troutman was supposed to take that next step, and he didn't. It was like a misfire, which makes me think, I don't know about him. Kind of like Tony Jones Jr. last year. That's why I don't really know about him. Like Ruiz was supposed to take that jump, and then he didn't. So I don't really know about him. And that's why I'm pessimistic on Troutman. Ron, Demario Davis, Pete Werner. And then a big step down. Caden Ellis. I mean, who am I forgetting? Zach Bond.
Yeah, Bond. And then after that, it's a crapshoot.
And we're using nickel most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, who are we kidding?
Who was the guy that we drafted? Dow.
DeMarco Jackson
from App State. Yeah, and that's preseason. I guess we'll learn more about him. To me, it's just mind-boggling. Where are y'all going to finish my sentence? Why do we not re-sign?
Quano.
I know. I mean, it's just it's so obvious. He comes in and he does fantastic. He and Demario Davis are just like Kobe and Shaq out there, and you can get him for nothing. Yeah, he's got the worst injury history ever, but he always recovers. He's like Ezekiel in the Bible. Like, why not? Why not bring him back?
No, George, I'm with you at this point. I mean, we're taking flyers on
He signed
Kiko
with the Jets,
but not
yesterday.
Quan Alexander. Like,
No, I know he's gone. I know he's ineligible to come back, but they didn't pay a lot for him. He was, pretty much part of the team, telling everybody, he's always around, so to speak. Just bring him back. He fits the team perfectly. Werner, now you're dead set on him having a great second season, and he showed you flashes and consistency over the course of from the middle of the season to the end. But that's a lot of pressure. And they're going to come times when you have to run a 4-3, on the goal line.
Banged up.
And then, and guys get hurt. And then guys like Zach Bond, who don't know where to be, have to play. Then Caden Ellis, who's kind of a borderline special teams ace. Is he an actual NFL defensive contributor? I don't know. That's
Colby
where I think.
Buckwell.
Yeah. That's where I think this defense, I don't know. It's kind of hard to host. I was throwing shit at from all the two directions.
Get to the question, bro.
Yeah,
get
to the question.
That's where I think this defense is going to struggle. But one place it is not going to struggle, and I'll put Buzz Broiler, I'll put Galatoirs, I'll put all the money in the world on it. One facet that this team will not struggle in is the defensive backs, Jay.
Wait, George. I was waiting for the question. So
you already said linebackers no good.
I was gonna chime in and just kind of rub salt in the wound that Robert Salo's commenting on how good a shape Quan Alexander was in, and Quan Alexander's making predictions that he's not going for a Pro Bowl. He's going all pro this year. So, it's just disappointing that we took the flyer on Kiko and not.
Oh, Quan. Yeah. Great. Wait, that's a great storyline. How funny is that?
I mean, so that is a very frustrating piece right
Kiko
there.
Kiko looked like he just got done a season of Survivor. I mean, dude looked like he was 190 pounds soaking wet.
I mean, I don't know if this is just my perception. George says I perceive a lot of things in the dome, but like I'm never really impressed by the size of Pete Werner. But dude hits. So, but all right. But George, you covered it all. We're going to be in a lot of 2 linebacker sets. CJ GJ hits like a linebacker. Let's go to the secondary.
All right, Jay. This is going to sound like the Monstars. This is an all-star team here. Chauncey already said Marshawn Lattimore, Honey Badger, Marcus May, Paulson Adebo, Bradley Roby, Justin Evans, who's every beat you read about, his name's flashing everywhere. P.J. Williams, Alante Taylor, Daniel Sorensen, don't really know where he fits. J.T. Gray, you already know what he is. Jay, under DA, is this the best secondary of our lifetime?
Mm.
Vicious, a rah-rah.
Darren Sharper, Roman Harper, Tracy Porter, Jabari Greer. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell, George.
Marcus, I know. Let's just talk about this one.
Yeah, Marcus May's got the potential, really highly regarded coming out of college. Had some good years, good moments, but he's been banged up. Ron, you can answer this question, but haven't heard much about Honey Badger since he's been back. I know all the hype, but curious to see what he's doing down there and how his leadership has felt on defense and in the secondary. I feel wonderful about cornerback with Paulson. Ron talked about week 1 hype earlier. Nick Underhill, I think, said that Paulson Adebo was the best player through camp through week 1. He's a guy that was one of my favorite players to watch last year, and just his story and how he came in and how the moment was never too big. So that's very encouraging. I mean, the secondary gives you a ton to be excited about. As a whole, I feel really good about this defense.
Yeah, Jay, you were right. Underhill talked about the confidence that Adebo's playing with going up against Mike Thomas. And dude, that's the other thing you got to love is like, we just got done talking about how stacked the wide receivers are. Think about who they're going up against all day, every day in camp. I mean, dude, you want to talk about another cliche, iron sharpening the iron. Dude, this secondary is going to be incredible this year, in my opinion. And I think you saw a lot of that in the first couple of days of camp. You always see, defense a little bit ahead of the offense in terms of timing and whatnot and anticipation. And you're seeing all the picks that Jameis was throwing early on. Dude, I think the secondary has the potential, George, to have more ball hawk type players than the 2009 team did. Because, let's think about, really,
wow.
Really 2009 was really just Darren Sharper having like, an all-time NFL year in terms
Please
of
don't say his name.
Being at the right place, right time. I'm talking about the football player, Jay.
How come you don't see
established
Darren
this
Sharper
over and over again?
How come you don't see Darren Sharper anymore, like in the stadium, like when they're like announcing?
Gosh.
How come they don't bring him around anymore? Something happened?
I had a friend that wanted.
So Porter, turned it on,
dude.
So Porter turned it on in the postseason. Obviously as Mr. Clutch. But I'm just saying, holistically, dude, there are a lot of playmakers on this defense. So I just think
you're getting me fired up, Ron. You're right.
I'm fired up, man.
Ron, remember Fred Thomas, Jason Kraft, Jason David, and how agonizing a bad DB.
Colorado State.
Thank you, Jay. So I'm gonna start flirting names out whenever Jay's talking. So remember how agonizing bad DBs are. What's his name? The Dixon twin. No fly zone guarding Julio Jones. You know what's gonna happen, dude.
Yes.
When your DBs are making plays, causing turnovers, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson doing his bloody thing. There's not many things more fun as a Saints fan than seeing all of that. And I'm not even trying to get all LSU with Tyrann Mathieu, but it's going to get really fun. They're going to beat the shit out of wide receivers. They're going to create a shit ton of turnovers. DA is going to love every minute of it. It is going to be fun to watch. Part of the reasons why you buy your season tickets this year, just because the DBs alone. And how often as a Saints fan can you say that? Hardly ever. Ron. George.
Missouri State.
Thank you. We're going to jump over Will Lutz. I don't know. All right. So look.
Wait. I got one more.
Wait.
Gillikin. What?
Just one more comment. Is it too much personality in the secondary? I mean, dude, you got CJ, GJ, and then you add Tyrann Mathieu. I get it. He's not who he used to be. He is mature and all that stuff, but he's still got the attitude. And throw Lattimore in there too. Like, dude, that's a lot of ego. That's a lot of smack talk. Is it too much, George?
If that was wide receiver, yeah, but they're tackling. So it's like they're going together. And I think one of the guys will end up getting traded. A team that's desperate for a corner is going to want Bradley Roby, and then we'll trade him for a position that we need, whether it's tight end, running back, or DT, because there's too much depth. I don't know the personality, the whatever. But, I mean, P.J. Williams is buried on that depth chart, but he can still play.
Yeah,
I just can't wait.
What, last year, George? When we traded
Roby,
for
a third
Roby?
round pick. Yeah. Look at us now.
I just can't wait
Taylor,
for. I can't wait for that first photo op, with the Juice Boys. That might have to be a framer. I mean, this is going to be a star-studded cast. I'm fired up. All right,
keep it buttoned up. So, Ron, the next question is we're going to forget about the kicker, forget about the punter. We love Lutz. We love Gillikin. But,
well, dude, wait. I mean, it is important to note Will Lutz.
It's very
great. We suffered through this last year big time.
But right now, the most cataclysmic change on this depth chart isn't on the players. It's from Sean Payton to DA. Right now, heading into week 1 of preseason, how do we feel about the coaching staff?
Well, I mean, I know how you feel, George, about that first episode of Hard Knocks. But I mean, if we got even 1% of that kind of energy from DA. No, I'm just kidding. So I think Dennis Allen is stable. It's not like he's given anybody like a new message or anything like this. I think we really do have a lot of continuity going into this camp. Now, this is me saying this from area code 225, not on Airline Highway, not in the building like Jay and I have previously been in to really, feel the culture down there. Jay and I were down in the building in 2009. We could feel that something special was brewing. We were a part of something special, but I just think it's not going to be all that different. Dennis Allen has said that he's not Sean Payton. He's himself. He can't be anybody else, but this team already knows who Dennis Allen is, and the defensive half of the ball obviously has been very receptive to his message and has played very well for him. And
George,
I think we're going to be fine, George.
Reports are that it's a lot more loose with DA there instead of Sean Payton, which is pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
How fantastic. First fan question coming from Christopher Baldwin.
Jay, that is interesting, dude. Wait, you would think Payton would be loose, right?
Yeah, that's what Ian Rappaport said, was that it was probably a change that a lot of people want it. And that's what I'm hearing as well, that it's pretty laid back compared to the Payton days.
All right. Well, Christopher Baldwinstein. Jay, what jerseys should you get for two twin girls?
Oh, congratulations, Baldwinstein, on the twins and them being out of the NICU. You're going to make a great dad. Blake Gillikin and Will Lutz. We didn't talk about them enough. That is a unique position of contributors that Gillikin did great last year, won us the Washington game almost, and we missed extra points in 5 consecutive games. The specialist could use more support. Lutz says his leg feels better than ever, has made 26 out of 27 kicks going into the year.
The correct answer was Divine Azigbo, and of course, our main man, Trevor Penning. Ron, who is faster? Red, the Weatherman's new boat, the Red Rhino, or Olave? Hey, Little, ask that question.
I mean, seeing how I haven't been invited for a ride on the Red Rhino, I got to go with what I've seen and what I know, and that's Chris Olave. So, yeah, sorry, Red. Now, maybe you could redeem yourself with a little weather report.
Hey, Rons, it's Red, the weatherman. And it is the beginning of the season. That's right, Rons. We're going to kick it off with a big one in Houston. A night game, August 13th, 7 p.m., NRG Stadium. And let's get right into the weather, Rons. With a high of 89 degrees. It's going to feel like 96 degrees. I have it dropping down, feeling more of the 82 degrees at kickoff. With a 57% chance of rain, thunderstorms mostly in the morning, and an east wind at 8 to 15 miles per hour, I have this weather, well, it's going to be a lot like New Orleans weather. Really hot and with some rain thrown in there. Anyway, Rons, NRG Stadium is a retractable roof. I assume that the roof will be closed for this game. Hey, and remember, one thing, Rons, whether you like it or not, it's Red, the weatherman.
Fantastic work as always, Fred. Okay, Jay, what are the chances we see Dalton before week 5? Injuries not being a factor. I don't understand that. Who's an under-the-radar player capable of a breakout year? Marcus Tuiasosopo.
Marcus. Used to love watching you play at University of Washington. Who's a breakout player? No, if Jameis is healthy, I'd like to think there's a 0% chance Andy Dalton's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
And then I haven't been following the guys lower on the depth chart this year as far as who can be somebody that steps up. Anybody else have an answer to that?
I mean, Troutman is Troutman under the radar. He should be the guy.
I don't know that he's under the radar to step up. I would more say it's got to be one of these running backs, right? Because, I mean, none of them are really on our radar right now.
I think the running back that steps up is Trey Sermon. They're going to cut him in San Francisco. He's going to get the Antonio Pittman, Pierre Thomas treatment. You know, Elijah from the Niners, from ULL. He's taken that job and ran with it, pun intended.
I mean, could a guy like Alante Taylor surprise us and emerge over some of those guys that we were talking about? Like,
it's possible.
For them,
Roby gets traded.
Yeah, for them to take him that high,
they love
position as deep as we just talked about, it's kind of a head scratcher.
Marcus May.
Raekwon Smith has more yards than Chris Olave and really proves George wrong.
Traquan Smith is getting cut. I'll put a Buzz Roethlisberger on it. Ron, here we go. Back at it.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, you want to take that bet?
Hey, and wait, I didn't get a chance to answer the twin jerseys. I kind of thought like 2 number 32s, or wait, actually no, 2 number 22s, because you know twins, 2s. You get the Chauncey Gardner, or you can get like CJ and GJ on one. You know, on either one.
That's not bad.
Or you get two 32s, Honey Badger.
Yeah, you might be able to come back for the next.
Right.
You might be able to come back for the next episode, Ron.
Yeah, we'll keep
That's
you
pretty
around.
cool.
You can stay around. All right.
I like this role. I get to answer the questions.
Ron, how many snaps under center?
George has never talked
clickbait
less.
Take this year.
Who's this from?
Bird flu.
Oh, bird flu. Better watch out for that monkeypox, bro. So, let's see. 17 game season. Taysom's going to be hurt for 9 of them. Dennis Allen's not going to want to change up the rhythm, like Jay said. So I'm going to give him 15 snaps. That's less than 1 per game over the course of this season. George.
Jay, from Colin Keith, master carpenter of Union Studios on Broadway, recently completed
Broad Street.
Recently completed the installation of the bar at the Covington Beer Garden. Ask this question. Will Juwan Johnson become a household name for NFL fans after the Saints win the Super Bowl?
Oh. I mean, if the Saints win the Super Bowl, yes. But no otherwise. I think he can have a better season than he did last year and continue to progress. But I have faith in Troutman and Taysom holding it down.
Ron, what Saint are you taking in the final round of your fantasy football draft? Chris didn't attend the reunion. Johnson.
Well, again, I wouldn't have minded a shot at that last question, but Jay, to your point, Darnell Dinkins is a household name after winning that Super Bowl with the Saints. So yeah, Juwan Johnson, definitely household name, and he's got the social media presence. All right, George, hit me with that one again.
Jeez, don't even be a dick about it. What Saint are you taking in the final round of your fantasy football draft? Ours will be in Mississippi at the end of the month. Chris didn't attend the reunion. Johnson.
Yeah, didn't attend the reunion. Never gonna forgive him. And we're allowing a question on this episode. Okay,
Well, we have a co-host that didn't attend the Super Bowl.
Ooh,
We have a co-host
all right. Hey,
that didn't attend the reunion.
I'm not a host.
All right. Yep. So.
Yep.
If you know anything about our league, ain't gonna be no Saints left by the last round. No, I honestly really would have to dig deep to think who realistically is not going to be drafted yet by then. I think last round for my team, George.
Taysom.
You kidding me? George is gonna be taking Taysom in like the 8th round, dude. He's gonna be a TE2 in the league this year, bro. So yeah, no, I honestly think maybe a guy like Juwan Johnson, George, or maybe you take the flyer on a Marcus Callaway.
I can't wait till the day you die and you go to the pearling gates and God's going to show you all the things you said about my dog Clickbait. He's going to have Mormon Jesus has record of everything you said about
is
my
he going
man.
to go to the same place as us, George? I don't know.
Hey, don't you say that. Don't you say that. Don't you ever say that. That's ugly. Okay. We can't go off on that negative note. Guys, this is a fantastic episode.
I got one more question.
What you got, Jay?
From Jasper the dog. Ron, did you watch Hard Knocks? Thoughts?
We alluded to it earlier, and I mean, you just can't help but feel a little affinity for our main man, Dan Campbell, another proud member of that 09 team, former coach on the staff, and a lot of former Saints, on that staff. So, you gotta have a lot of Homer kind of affinity for this team. I think it's a great choice by HBO, and yeah, it gets the people going. I mean, if you're, like you said, Jay, you're just a few seconds in and you're ready to run through a brick wall for the guy.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Great job, everybody.
I got one more question.
Okay, here we go. Go, Ron.
This one's for Jorge, flipping the script on you. This is off the Instagram, coming from our boy, the Alex Puente. Who wins a PST arm wrestling contest? And he said, it can also be settled UTO if necessary. George, do you want to tell him if this is necessary? Do you have anything to share here?
We haven't even talked about UTO.
Ron's got like a 2-foot arm. Ron's arm is such like a little brick.
He goes from talking about my perfect, wasted, squandered football physique to now saying I got alligator arms going over the middle, George.
You asked the question, I provide the motherfucking answer. So you can't do both. His arm's like a little brick. I don't know how to describe it, but Ron, he's so compact. You know how it's hard for tall guys to get buffed because they have so much more arm. So that LeBron couldn't and Kevin Durant never could really lift weights that well because their arms are so long. Ron is the exact opposite. So he's got those little arms. It's really tough to beat in arm wrestling. So, Puente, as much as I'd love to pound my chest and say me. No, the answer's Ron.
We'll just leave Jay out of this conversation.
Yeah, I think we'll need to do that underneath the overpass.
I'll bring the table.
And guys,
I'll bring the belt.
Speaking of Poydras, UTO.
I'll leave with the belt.
Very good. On 3 Poydras, that's the address. Saturday and Sunday, NOLA Pickleball Championship. Come see your boy. Bringing home the gold, David Stahl, my boy. Brittany Maywald, as always, the feet in the co-ed mixed. Gold and gold, only way to do it. I appreciate y'all's support worldwide. Jay, if they need a realtor, who should they call? They should call, what's his name, Nippy?
Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson, the field goal kicker. Ron, if they need any energy, they should call Clico.
Yeah, hey, we're working on the Bills, y'all.
Oh, yeah, bad time to be repping energy. Bad time. Yeah, Ron should do the energy PR, but he's a good dude. He's not so bad. All right, guys. We didn't even talk about the preseason game. Who scores the first touchdown?
First touchdown, dude. It's Mike Thomas. I'm saying back in a big way.
Adam Troutman, seam route.
The real winners are us, the football fans. Big Good Football is back. All right, Ron, take us out.
Pro Saints Talk, we out here.